Yes, so when thinking about this, I thought that it was probably um, best if I tried to answer this in two parts. So, first, what it was that actually inspired me to begin writing in the first place, and then why the Shy Backpacker Travel Diaries. So, um, looking back, I might be a bit unlike most writers, not because I started quite late in life, but because I never enjoyed reading or writing really at all as a kid. Throughout school, university, and also during my working life, reading and writing was almost always, it was more about purpose than doing it for pleasure. Um, Now, after studying zoology at university, I ended up training in finance, and then I spent 20 odd years directing finance and operations management in support of international nature conservation. And over this time, the type of writing that I did every day, it was largely about communicating technical and sometimes complex issues in easy to understand ways to others. Now, several years ago, it was around 2016, my organization underwent a restructure and I was cast out by the new regime. Now, for me, this was a massive body blow. And although I soon lined up some contract work, I actually found myself drifting on the slippery slope into depression. Um, it was one of those things. A lot of it, a lot of people go through it. It's a really tough time, um, and during that, I found myself soul searching and searching for new directions and wanting to try different things. So as I was going through this, I started to get into exploring bits of popular psychology to help my mindset and think about where where I was going. Now, I don't know if you've ever come across this book, but I would highly recommend this book, which is called the Chimp Paradox by a chap called Steve Peters. Now, it's a fabulous book, and essentially what it is it's a brilliant practical model for thinking through how we interact with the world around us, and it's really something that I recommend to anybody who's going through this sort of type of stages that I was. Anyhow, it was sort of coming across some of these sorts of ideas that I began to think around different perspectives of articulating life's challenges. And in one of my sillier moments, I thought, well, why not try and write some of this down for myself? And so I sort of began, and one of the first things was all about then seeing, could I write and could I construct something that was vaguely like a book? And I saw that self-publishing through Amazon was one way of doing it, and so the first thing that I actually wrote was this book called Crossing the Wilderness, which is a book, and I achieved the sort of the goal of actually getting from the start to the end of the book. However, I would say I wasn't that impressed with it, and so again, sort of over the next 6 months to a year was when going through it, I produced the first book that I would say I was moderately proud of, which was my Spider's Web self-help model. And I found the writing of this pretty cathartic during the time that I was trying to get my headspace right. But during this time, I was, amongst other things, I was questioning all aspects of my life. And I was thinking about different things that had affected my life journey. And I was mulling over lots of those big why, why me, what if type of questions that you might have. One such aspect of that was in respect of relationships. Now, thankfully, I'm happily married nowadays and have been so for the last 20 odd years. But in this context of the sort of what if questions, I started thinking about some of the different girls that I'd met during my life, and started thinking, okay, well, what if something had worked out differently?